Every single day at 3 p.m., your body does something your boss doesn't want you to know about. Your brain quietly shuts off a switch, and no amount of coffee, willpower, or motivational podcast can flip it back on. You felt it, that wall. You're sharp at 9 a.m., decent by noon, and by 3 p.m., you're staring at the same email you've read 4 times. Most people think they're lazy. Most people are wrong. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why 3 p.m. keeps breaking you and the specific design principle that explains it. There are 3 design principles that explain why your afternoon falls apart. Most people violate all 3 without knowing it. And here's what's wild. A document written over 3,000 years ago described all 3 of these before modern neuroscience existed. Let's go through them. Exodus 20, verses 8 through 10. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. In plain English, God is saying rest isn't a suggestion for the spiritually elite. It's a command, because rest is as essential to your design as work itself. Point 1. Your willpower has a tank, and it empties every single day. Genesis 2, verses 2 through 3. And on the 7th day God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work. God didn't rest because he was tired. He rested because he was showing you how you're built. Rest was sewn into creation before humans ever clocked in for a shift.
In 1998, Dr. Roy Baumeister at Case Western Reserve University published a landmark study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology called Ego Depletion. Is the active self a limited resource? Here's what he found. Students who had to resist eating chocolate, using up their willpower on that one task, gave up significantly faster on hard puzzles right after. His direct finding: choice, active response, and self-regulation may all draw on a common inner resource. Your willpower isn't infinite. It's a tank. And after 8 to 10 hours of decisions, that tank is bone dry. That's why dieters fail at dinner. That's why managers make their worst calls at 4 p.m. It's not a character flaw. It's a fuel gauge hitting empty.
Here's where it gets interesting. God didn't just say rest once a week. The pattern goes deeper than that. Point 2. God built a pause button into your afternoon. Psalm 55, verse 17. Evening and morning and at noon I cry out, and he hears my voice. David prayed 3 times a day. Daniel knelt 3 times daily. In Acts chapter 3, verse 1, Peter and John went to the temple at the 9th hour. That's 3 p.m. God didn't just allow a midday pause. He commanded it.
And here's what nobody expected. In 2022, researchers published a study in Frontiers in Neuroscience showing that your cortisol, the hormone that keeps you alert, hits a secondary low point between 2 and 4 p.m. This dip happens regardless of what you ate for lunch. It's hardwired into your circadian rhythm. At the same time, Dr. Stafford Lightman published research in the Journal of Internal Medicine in 2024, showing that your brain runs on 90-minute ultradian cycles. Push past one of those cycles without rest, and your cognitive errors start compounding. So at 3 p.m., 2 biological clocks collide. Your cortisol crashes to its afternoon floor, and your ultradian cycle hits its deepest rest phase simultaneously. Fighting this dual dip doesn't make you productive. It makes you worse.
Stay with me. This last point changes everything we just covered. Point 3. The person who stops outperforms the person who pushes through. Mark chapter 2, verses 27 and 28. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Jesus is saying this command was made for you, to help you, to give you rest. It's a gift for your good, not a burden.
NASA proved this in one of the most replicated studies in sleep science. They gave pilots a 26-minute nap during the afternoon dip window. The result? A 54% increase in alertness and a 34% improvement in task performance. The pilots who rested outperformed the pilots who pushed through by a third. And in 2024, Dr. Zhou Xu and colleagues published a study in CNS Neuroscience and Therapeutics with 38 volunteers. They measured brain connectivity before and after rest deprivation. Without rest, different parts of your brain literally stop communicating, like an orchestra where the musicians stop listening to each other. But after even a short nap, the brain's communication lines lit back up. Scientists could measure healing happening in real time during rest.
So here's what all of this means. You haven't been failing at 3 p.m. You've been fighting a system God designed. Every afternoon when you hit that wall and reach for another coffee, when you push through another meeting with a brain that's already checked out, you're not being strong. You're going against your own design. This isn't about religion. This is about following the instructions your own design came with. 3,000 years before anyone measured cortisol or ego depletion, God said, "Stop. Rest. It's holy." Hebrews chapter 4, verses 9 through 10 puts it like this: "There remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God, for whoever has entered God's rest has also rested from his works, as God did from his." That deeper rest, it's trusting that God has it under control, that you don't have to earn his approval through endless striving, that stopping is not weakness, it is obedience. The most productive thing you do today might be the moment you stop. Here are 3 things you can start today, not next week, today. Step 1, the 3 p.m. Selah. At 3 p.m. today, stop whatever you're doing for 20 minutes. 5 minutes of prayer or stillness, 15 minutes with your eyes closed, no phone, no podcast. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." This works because it aligns your rest with the exact window your cortisol and ultradian cycles are demanding a pause. You're not being lazy, you're being neurologically obedient. Step 2, the decision fast. Pick one evening this week and pre-decide everything for the next day. Your outfit, your meals, your 3 priorities. Baumeister's research proves every small decision drains the same tank as the big ones. Pre-deciding refills your willpower before it empties. Step 3, the weekly reset. Set one day this week, just one, where you stop producing and simply rest. Exodus 20 verse 10, "The 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work." This isn't optional if you want to function the way you were designed. It's the weekly refill your brain's decision-making system demands. You don't need a perfect week to start this. You need the next 10 minutes. Remember what we started with? Every day at 3 p.m., your brain shuts off a switch. Now you know why. It's not a glitch. It's a design feature, built into your biology and written into scripture 3,000 years before anyone had a lab to prove it. Subscribe to God's Playbook. New video every weekday. This is a series. If this landed for you, I made a video about why your morning routine is fighting your own biology. Link above. You were designed for this. Let's figure it out together.